High-performance BMWs are often looked at as engineering masterpieces, and often they're quite efficient as well. The BMW M240i xDrive we tested a couple months ago got almost 35 MPG on the highway. So how about this one, the 2022 BMW M4 Competition xDrive? How efficient is it? Well, today we're going to find out. This is Christopher Brower here with Daily Motor, and today we're running the real-world highway fuel economy test on the 2022 BMW M4 Competition xDrive, a new variant of the M4 Competition, now with xDrive all-wheel drive. Before we get started, let's hop out and take a look around it. A pretty tame spec on this M4, though we do have the carbon fiber bucket seats inside, but I think in this gray color it makes it look a little bit more grown up despite the rambunctious front end. Otherwise, I think they did a really good job with the styling. No real changes for this year, just the addition of all-wheel drive if you'd like it. Not all of them are all-wheel drive. It is an option, but the cool thing about this xDrive all-wheel drive system in M cars is that with the touch of a button in your infotainment, you can fully disable the front drive wheels and make this thing rear-wheel drive and a drift machine once again. So here it is. In competition spec, we've got a carbon fiber roof, and under the hood of this BMW M4 Competition is a 503 horsepower turbocharged 3-liter straight six. So with all that out of the way and Mr. Ossifer coming around for the second time, let's go ahead and get started with our test today. So why do we do this test? Well, the EPA's fuel economy test, which gives this M4 Competition xDrive 22 MPG on the highway, only averages 48 miles per hour. And we know that some people like to actually take their cars on road trips. So what we do in today's scenario, we're going to go out 25 miles and back 25 miles for a total of 50 miles with an average speed of 70 miles per hour to hopefully get a more real world figure to see what this car would actually get if you were to go out on a proper road trip. A couple things worth noting for today's test. Outside temperature is 66 degrees Fahrenheit. We're going to be running the climate control inside at 73 degrees auto. The tire pressures have been set to their factory door placard indicated 32 PSI cold. And we're going to be using the same gas pump both times with the same 3-click filling method to get the most accurate results possible. All right, and 14.2 gallons in there for our first fill. This thing was almost empty. All right, well, let's go ahead and start our timer here on the GPS. Climate control is already set to 73 degrees auto, and we will go ahead and reset our trip here. We are all set to go. As loud as this car sounds, we are actually in the most tame drive mode that the M4 offers. We don't get an Eco Pro or anything like you get on a normal BMW. You really only get road, street, and track mode. And we are in road mode right now with the least aggressive shift setting and everything set into comfort. Now, the purpose of this test is not to hypermile. I'm not going to be doing any purposely efficient driving. We're just going to get on the highway, set the cruise control to a GPS indicated 72 miles per hour, and just drive for about 50 miles and see what this M4 is capable of in this real world scenario. So overall first highway impressions, it's not so bad. The only thing that I think might get a little bit tiring and a little bit old are these carbon fiber bucket seats. I don't really think these are meant for long distance road trips or any sort of extended driving. Are they great on the track? Yes, they are. I've sat in them on the track, I've driven in them on the track, I've ridden passenger in them. They're great because you can hang on. Are they good for a road trip? Probably not, but we'll see how my back feels after about an hour of sitting in them. So other than that though, it's not so bad. When the ride's in comfort mode, it's still not the most comfortable thing in the world, but this is an M4. It's a pretty hardcore sports car, so, or sports luxury, whatever you want to call it. It does a good job at that. It's very violent on the road, and if you're curious to learn more about that, I will have my full review linked down in the description. But for right now, I'm just going to look at this graph that BMW gives you, and look at that, we're already getting 21 MPG, 21.1. For being a race car, it's cool to see that we get this entire display here to track our MPGs. So that's pretty neat. Cool, well, as far as driver assists go, we don't have adaptive cruise control that I've seen, but we do have lane keep assist, so at least we've got something. No steering assist, really. Just, you know, back to the basics. I'll actually have to do some driving today. But anyways, with all of those first impressions out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and drive my 50 miles, and I will catch up with you guys once I am towards the end. Finishing up our trip here in the BMW M4 Competition, and before I get into any of the comfort or any of the long distance experience with this car, look at what this thing is reading out on the infotainment. 29.4 MPG allegedly it's been getting, which is absolutely incredible. I hope that this is the actual figure that the car's been getting. You can see our average speed here, 70.3, so right around 70 miles per hour here. And this thing has been absolutely dominating EPA. If this is a true figure, of course we'll have to go off of our math at the pump, but super impressive. Also, these carbon fiber seats are not as uncomfortable as I thought they would be for long distance cruising, and after kind of feeling the passenger seat a little bit here, there is a good amount of padding for your butt and your lower back, so that helps quite a bit. Are they the easiest thing to get in and out of? No, they're not, but if you absolutely had to do a long distance road trip in these for some sort of an emergency or something, or just because you want to take your M4 with carbon seats on a long trip, I think you'd be okay, honestly. I mean, I am only 23 years old. Why did I have to think about that for a second? I am only 23 years old, but my back does hurt sometimes. I'm getting old, but no, I feel totally fine in these seats. Ride quality, totally fine as well. Wind intrusion, no problem. Road noise, a little bit from these P0s, but nothing crazy. So, overall, a pretty good experience here in this M4. MPGs are still going up, 29.6, 29.7 average now. So, I'm really anxious to see what the calculator reveals at the pump. Maybe this thing will actually go up to 30. How crazy would that be? We beat EPA by 8 MPG. It's so incredible to me that BMW can make an engine with 500 horsepower and also make it do 30 miles per gallon on the highway. I was impressed enough with the B58 3-liter that's in the non-M cars. I think this is called the S58. If it's not, I'll edit it out. But I think this is called the S58 because in the M car. And just to see that it makes that much power, it's this efficient. This thing's all-wheel drive, too. What does the rear-wheel drive car get? Crazy stuff, guys. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and finish out my last few miles here in this M4, and I will catch up with you guys once I have brimmed the tank at the gas station. All right, and 1.774 gallons in there for our final fill. Go ahead and do some math. All right, so our trip today was 55.74 miles. Divide that, oh, that's interesting, it's 2 7/4s, okay. Divide that by the 1.774 gallons used, and that gives us 31.42 MPG. Which is just absolutely incredible. Now the car at the end was reading out about 30.4, so even if you were to average the two of those, you'd be somewhere in the mid 30s. So absolutely incredible performance from this M4 Competition xDrive, a car that EPA rates at 22 MPG, that in the real world on the highway at 70 miles per hour achieves 31 MPG. That is just incredible. And this M4 Competition has a 15.6 gallon fuel tank, which means your effective highway cruising range is just about 490 miles. If you were to round down the 10, it would be 480. So pretty close there to the 500 mile mark. So a good cruising range, an absolutely incredible performance. I know I've said that like 3 or 4 times at this point, but I'm so impressed by this car just as a whole. BMW does such a good job with these high performance cars, making them just engineering masterpieces from the standpoint of just being very, very good on track, on street, and on the highway as far as efficiency goes. So good job to BMW with this M4 Competition. And yeah, if you want a car that you can take to the track on the weekends, take on road trips, and save a little bit at the pump, as funny as that sounds, buy a $100,000 BMW M4 Competition xDrive. All right, guys, well, I hope you've enjoyed watching this video today. A really good surprise from this M4, and we'll catch you very soon in the next one. This has been Christopher Brower here with Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.